Okay, I feel bad because I've only posted like one video on here, but let's change that. So, considering I'm a nerd channel, one thing I love is Star Wars. And I mean that I really love Star Wars a lot. But I don't feel like I can really identify with other Star Wars fans. Because as a Star Wars fan, it mainly comes down to a couple of things. Like the originals turn out how your original opinion was in the prequel saying they're great now, and the sequels suck and everything Disney has made is absolute garbage. When I don't think that way at all. I like all the movies that Disney has made. I like all the shows. Like, I like Star Wars no matter what. Like, sure, I can identify that there are a few projects that aren't great, but I can't say that they're all bad. I'm unbiased when I say I like all the movies equally. Same with the shows. I'll talk more about it later on, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. I have recorded this so many times, I can't even keep track. But we're gonna try anyways. So I wanted to have a little conversation with the people in the Star Wars community right now. If you're hearing that, you probably already know what this is gonna be about. And if you're getting mad, go yell in the stratosphere. I really don't care. Now, to all of you that are A, not mad, or B, are unaware of what's going on, then you are free to stay, and I'm going to explain everything to the best of my ability, as well as give my opinion on this. So, about a month ago, a prominent person in the Star Wars community, Star Wars Theory, had this interview with this woman about Star Wars, I guess. That's not important for this video. What's important is this certain segment that's been going around for the past month of her basically saying that Star Wars is for men. Let men have their thing. Women are like, we need to be more inclusive when it comes to this. No, you don't. It's for men. Like, really big ooga booga brain shit. But instead of Star Wars Theory disagreeing with her, for some reason he was just full on agreeing. Not only like after that interview, but also in a later live stream when he was talking about it and he was agreeing with her there as well. Now, I can talk about why that is fucking stupid, but I'm gonna continue. So, after that interview, there have been a lot of videos going around with that audio plus the song What Was I Made For clipped into it. Videos like this one by Carly King, this one by Cassiana Posey. I am so sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. This one with Magic with Meg, and this one with Taya Miller. Now, those videos were going around all over the place in the Star Wars community when it came to like basically propping them up and saying like, yeah, they're valid and all those other things. And I agree with all of them. Hell, I reposted a few of them. And I figured like, there's no need for me to make a video on this. Why should I make a video on this? There's no real need. That was until I saw this post by Chris Does Cosplays. Just read that top paragraph. That basically is what I'm going to be talking about right now. And honestly, that post made me pissed with this fucking community. Because you guys not see what you're fucking doing? You're pushing people away and making people want to make fun of us even more. Like, some of you are such brain-dead, incel, virgin bitches that you can't handle the fact that a woman likes the same thing you like or wants to be part of this community. Like, if you don't like women in this community, just fucking say it, and then we can all agree then that that's the case. Then we can have people like Padme, Leia, Ahsoka, fucking Rey, or any fucking character that is a woman in the fucking saga. However, if you disagree, please just do me a favor and just get blown up by the fucking Death Star flying to Mustafar's fucking core. I don't give a shit. Here is my opinion. If you like anything when it comes to Star Wars, you are valid as a fan. And don't misinterpret what I'm saying. This isn't just with Star Wars. This is with Marvel and DC as well. But when it comes to Star Wars, here are the things I'm going to say. If you like any of the trilogies, you're valid as a fan. If you don't like any of the trilogies but like the shows, you're as valid as a fan. If you think Rey should be just Rey Skywalker, Rey Palpatine, any of those, you're valid. As long as the reason is actually reasonable. Like, any opinion you have in this whole community should be valid, no matter what. You can say that Attack of the Clones is the best Star Wars movie, and you know what? You're valid. I'm not saying I agree, but you're valid for thinking that because you still like the universe. I don't care. It does not hurt my feelings at the end of the day. However, when it comes to any community, this community is the worst of being toxic to the cast members of these movies. Like, you guys make fun of Daisy Ridley for fucking getting off of social media and everything after Backlash with her becoming the main character of the sequel trilogy. But if that's the case, I don't want to hear jack shit from any of you when it comes to supporting Jake Lloyd or Ahmed Best. because they got critiqued and they got bashed just as much. And I don't want to see any of you that were praising Ahmed Best for coming back in The Mandalorian Season 3 as a Jedi and getting a redemption, but getting pissed off that Rey is going to be back for a movie. Or see any of you supporting Daisy Ridley getting bullied off social media. Because I'm sorry, when it comes to toxic fans, they're talking about you. I'm going to tag all the female creators I've put in this video, plus as many as I can, because they deserve it. They deserve that recognition. Not saying that they have less recognition than me, because they have hundreds of thousands of followers and I have like not even 100 yet. But that's beside the point. I'm going to tag as many as I can and go follow them, because they all deserve that recognition and they all deserve to be told that they are valid as fans and they should not be bullied away from this community. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now I'm going to go to the Tavi station to pick up some power converters. I want one, but my wallet's telling me I'm not allowed to. Like, listen, Vader's Vault, listen. I know I talk superhero stuff a lot on this page, specifically Spider-Man, but I talk Star Wars too. I'm just listen. I'm not gonna beg. I'm not gonna beg unless you want me to. Do you want me to beg? Do you want me to beg you for one? I just want one. So, I've had some time to look back on the most recent episode of The Acolyte, and yes, I rewatched it this morning, just to make sure that what I saw is what I saw, and fuck me, man. Like, there was just so much about this episode that was really good. First of all, I'm gonna be spoiling the episode, so if you have not seen the episode, go watch it. But if you have seen it, hope you watch the rest of this video. They gone? R.I.P. to my girl Jackie. She did not fucking deserve that. She was able to go head to head with basically a Sith. She went out, but she went out like a bam. And then there's Yord, and can we just admit that Yord's death was probably the most brutal we've seen ever shown in Star Wars? Don't get me wrong, like, I know we saw, the Rancor and the Sarlacc Pit in episodes. But when it comes to people getting, killed in Star Wars, the only one I think that was, brutal at first, that was probably the most brutal one I've seen, was, Count Dooku's death in episode 3. But even then, every single death had to do with a lightsaber, and Darth Khmer just up and breaks his arm to disarm him, and then snaps his fucking neck, and then throws him like a fucking ragdoll. Cold as shit. Now, the episode wasn't perfect. I kind of don't like May. Osha, I like how she's been throughout the whole show, but May's character is just kind of all over the place. Like where we left off last episode, where she was ready to betray the Sith in order to try and be back with her sister. She was ready to turn herself in. But then when Jackie tries to do so, she's like, no, and then tries to beg for forgiveness from the Sith. Dude, you are lucky the Jedi were there, because if they weren't, you'd be dead. So yeah, other than May being pretty inconsistent this episode, I thought it was a really good episode. Like, I've been enjoying the show, and I would rate each episode like a 7, 8, and sometimes a little less. Like, my rating for the show right now is episode 1 was an 8 out of 10, episode 2 was a 9 out of 10, episode 3 was like a maybe 6.5 out of 10, episode 4 was a 7.5 out of 10, this one was like a 9 out of 10. All in all, so we got 3 more episodes left, so let's see where it goes from here. Alright, let's talk about the Acolyte season finale. Considering I'm bringing that up, that means yes, I'm going to be spoiling the season, so if you don't want spoilers, leave. Now with that out of the way, hot damn, this motherfucker an ugly son of a bitch, ain't he? But no, I think it's really cool that we're finally seeing Plagueis in anything live action, because I read the Plagueis book a lot back when I was in middle/high school. But now that we see him, now I want to see how his story will play out now that that book is not really considered canon anymore. Because if anything, I know that the directors are taking some stuff from Legends and putting it into the new canon. Like how they put in that Khmer's helmet and gauntlet were made out of this thing, right? I just look for finally seeing this stuff done in live action because, again, we haven't seen anything like it before, really, on anything in the new canon. Oh, and before I forget, Soul Patrol, how we doing? Yeah, let's just say that Soul got a little choked up when he tried to tell the truth. But speaking of that, I also want to bring up he saw Crystal bleeding in live action, and which caused a lot of people, mainly he who shall not be named theory, try and say that it doesn't make any sense when I'm going to tell you it actually does. Because not just anger and hate that you put into the crystal to try and bleed the crystal, it's all kinds of negative emotion that's used. Pain, sorrow, guilt, fear, all of that they put into the crystal to bleed it. And I am sorry, but do you really not think that anger wasn't involved in her bleeding the crystal right there? Like, I'm planning on making a whole video talking about everything with the show, like reviewing each episode, but I just want to get like my thoughts off of the season finale out. And if there's anything that I didn't talk about you want me to talk about, let me know so I can put it in the video. But other than that, I give the accolade in total. I think right now I'm sitting at like probably like a 7, 8 out of 10, I think. Don't get me wrong, it had its bad moments, which I'm going to talk about when I discuss the whole season. But in general, I actually enjoyed each episode. My personal thoughts, what do you think? Happy belated May the 4th / Revenge of the 5th, ladies and gentlemen. I would have posted yesterday for May the 4th, but I was more focused on trying to pass my final so I can graduate, and also I was packing because I'm moving in a week. But with that out of the way, I was trying to figure out what kind of video I'd want to do for Star Wars Day and for what I'd want to do for Revenge of the 5th. Like, I've been seeing people post videos on, you know, their favorite Jedi, their favorite Sith, their favorite Star Wars movie, show, all that kind of shit. So I decided, because I missed yesterday and today is Revenge of the 5th, I am going to do 2 things. I'm going to talk about my favorite Jedi, and I'm going to talk about my favorite Sith. With all of that aside, let's go into my favorite Jedi, who is Luke Skywalker. Now, I have always loved the original trilogy over the prequels and the sequels and all that other stuff. Like, I got into the movies back when they were all on VHS, and I saw them all before they were edited for the Blu-ray releases. Like, somewhere I have a picture of me with my first ever lightsaber that was the pop-up Darth Vader one from like 2000 and, I don't know, like 5 or 6. But when it comes to the Jedi, Luke has always been my favorite Jedi. Mainly because, A, I thought that he was actually a good character, but also on top of that, he was just a good person. Like, he was the only one that was able to see the good in Vader, even when Vader himself couldn't see it. He was a true epitome of what a Jedi should be. And let's also not forget that in episode 6, he had that shit on. Same with that lightsaber. I fucking love his lightsaber from episode 6 onwards. And then when we saw him at the end of Mando season 2, I fucking weeped, bro. I will say also again, I'm graduating this weekend, so if anyone wants to, you know, get me a graduation present, I would love his actual, like, lightsaber he had back in episode 6, where it didn't have the gold or anything, but it had that, like, that black, like, rustic, like, finish on it. That is, like, without a doubt, my favorite look of his saber. Sith, I know this is probably my basic answer, but Darth Maul. Mainly because he went from being a pretty much almost like a jabber in episode 1 that had no lines and just was there to look cool, to being one of the most complex villains in Star Wars. Like, he is a character that is completely self-destructive in nature. Like, his arrogance got him cut in half, his rage got his brother killed, but then his lust for revenge not only caused Order 66 to end up just happening, but also it ended up being what killed him. I don't know if anyone remembers, but he's fucking dead in Rebels. Well, later on, he's dead in Rebels. Like, he went to Tatooine just to kill Obi-Wan, but then Obi-Wan just took him out with no effort. Because his rage, his ego, his, you know, like, all around, like, personality is what kills him at the end. And when he dies, he still has he almost has like a turnaround moment with Obi-Wan, with him being like, is the one you're protecting the chosen one? And when he says he is, it's like, he'll avenge us then. And I love how his character turns around, but it's like, it's tragic because it's too late for him to turn around like that. Also, I will say, this fight he had with Ahsoka is probably one of the best fights in all of Star Wars that we've ever seen on screen. But, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. That's my favorite Jedi, and that's my favorite Sith. I know Vader is definitely a close second. Like, it was honestly a coin flip between Maul and Vader, but I think everyone knows how complex Vader is and why he's such an awesome villain. But a lot of people that don't watch Clone Wars or Rebels or anything like that doesn't know actually how cool Maul is. So that's why I picked Maul. I guess I'll pass the question on you. Who's your favorite Jedi and who's your favorite Sith? And if you don't have a personal favorite Jedi or Sith, just tell me who your favorite good guy and bad guy are in Star Wars. Like, again, I think my personal favorite good guy is Luke, and my personal favorite bad guy is, of course, Palpatine or Vader, because I think they are both, well, one of them is very complex, and one of them is just pure evil for no reason other than to be evil. And I love that. But yeah, again, like I said, let me know. Listen, I know I've been gone for a minute, okay? Cut me some slack. Between the last video and now, I graduated, moved, had a vacation, just a bunch of shit happened. But now I am officially more free, so now I'm gonna go back to making videos like this again. Now I'm gonna do something that's not controversial at all, and I'm gonna rate all of these Star Wars movies. I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if a million Star Wars fans shouted in horror, but then immediately were silenced. Look, I don't care if you like the sequels more, original trilogy more, or prequels more. This is just my personal opinion. If you do not like it, feel free to dox and threaten me in the comments, okay? I don't really give a shit. Right off the bat, we're gonna start with a movie that I think everyone puts at the bottom of the list, even people that like the sequels. And yep, I'm talking about Rise of Skywalker. Thing is, too, there were concepts that were, like, leaked about this movie, and it looked like it was gonna be so good, and it would have been a lot better than what we got with this. And something that people that bring up a lot is the fact that the Star Wars trilogies are almost like a response to each other. But even then, in this trilogy, every movie was a response to each other, and this was the worst of them, 100%. Now, I don't care how many people want to do revisionist history on this movie. This movie's bad! There's not anything that anyone can do to tell me that this movie was actually good at all. Only thing this movie has over Rise of Skywalker is the soundtrack and some of the choreography, but that is all. And I feel bad for everybody involved because they really tried to make the dialogue work in this, but it was just not hitting. I truly, deeply love you. That's not what women would say! Now, this one isn't because the movie's actually bad, it's just I didn't really see a purpose in it being made, and that would be Solo. Now look, this is where the reviews are gonna be more like double-sided, with like where I like it, but there are some things I don't. And honestly, this movie was kind of forgettable for me, and that's like the worst I could say about it. But the guy they choose to pick for Han Solo was great, and also the soundtrack was great. I do think they're starting to beat everything with Darth Maul over the head, though. And coming up on the tail end of that one, I am gonna go with The Last Jedi. This is yet another one where I feel like it has its good moments, but people really focus on the bad, and it's hard to see the good. Like, I get people not liking how Luke was portrayed in this one, but at the end, how he went out, I honestly couldn't see a better ending. And also, with the soundtrack too, this movie was really good as well. And opposed to popular opinion, I also like that they made Rey a nobody. It brought some mysticism to the Force again. Basically saying, no matter where you come from, you don't need to be a part of a particular bloodline in order to be a hero. That wasn't until this movie fucking trampled all over that idea! Okay, I ran out of time. Stay tuned for part 2. Okay. I think I've waited long enough to make a video now. Look, I'm sorry. Life just gets fucking difficult, okay? But I'm not gonna postpone anymore. Here's part 2 to my Star Wars movie rankings. Last time I left off on The Last Jedi, and up next is Phantom Menace. Now look, does this movie have problems? Absolutely. Is the Coruscant part boring as fuck? 100%. And do the midichlorians make no fucking sense? Kind of. But other than that, you cannot deny how good every person in this movie was trying to make the script. Natalie Portman was great as Padme. Jake Lloyd tried his hardest with the script and he should not have gotten the hate he did. Same with Ahmed Best. Don't get me started on Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Honestly, they might be the best ones in this movie and the best parts of this movie. And on top of that, the music and the final fight scene between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Darth Maul is fucking amazing. Now we're gonna get into the movies I genuinely like and find some enjoyment in that isn't just story, and that is going to be starting with Rogue One. Rogue One, I think, was the best movie they could have released after Force Awakens because it was, A, giving a little bit of nostalgia for the people that enjoy the original trilogy, but also it answered a question that a lot of fans have had for decades when it comes to the Death Star. People wanted to see the story play out of how they got the Death Star plans, and they got to see it, and it was great. Not only that, but also we got Andor, and that show is a fucking marvel on its own. And also, we can't forget the Darth Vader hall scene. That we can't live without that. And considering I brought it up, the next one I like is Force Awakens. Okay, listen. Did it basically play the same plot points from A New Hope? Yes. But was it bad though? Because last time I checked, when this movie came out, everyone loved it. People loved Finn, they loved Kylo, and yes, people loved Rey, and people still do. And I'm one of the people in that group. I thought this movie set up a bunch of plot points that we addressed in The Last Jedi, but didn't, for the reason we all know. And honestly, I don't mind that Rey was the actual Jedi in the film because it builds it up from the beginning. And also before anyone says, but she's super force sensitive right off the bat and she had no training beforehand. Remember, Luke didn't have any training either before he pulled the fucking lightsaber out of the snow in Empire Strikes Back. But again, people don't want to call him a Mary Sue, even though he only just found out about the Force in A New Hope. But she heard stories about the Force and the Jedi for her entire childhood. And then when she got a feeling about it when she was around Kylo, she tried something that she heard about and it still worked. That's not a Mary Sue. Alright, that rant's done. But that's basically where I'm coming at with all this. And once again, I am running out of time, so stay tuned for part 3. I'm not even going to try and waste any time. I'm going to try and make this final part. Here is my ranking of all the Star Wars movies. Coming up at number 4 is the one that started it all, Star Wars. Listen, I know a lot of people are going to say sacrilege, but at least none of the sequels or even Attack of the Clones made it this far. But seriously, this one did start it all, and honestly, this and Spot 3 honestly kind of flip-flopped for me, but this one really did start it all. Now, I know everyone says when it comes to the prequels, a lot of the dialogue seems ham-fisted and not genuine, and some of the lines are a little, odd when it comes to delivery. But fuck me, this movie has it too, and it is fucking charming. The only reason why this one is a little bit lower than the next 3 spots is because A, I get a little bit more enjoyment out of the next 3, but also because this one, it had a lot of slow moments to me. Not a lot, but there was a few slow moments. And that kind of also goes for episode 3. Listen, I know before anyone wants to kill me that loves the original trilogy, I know the problems with this movie. A lot of the dialogue is very ham-fisted. Natalie Portman in this movie is not doing a great job, and neither is Hayden Christensen. But fuck me, this movie shows why George Lucas is, was, and always will be a great director. There were a lot of show don't tell moments in this movie, like the scene where Anakin is in the Jedi Council chamber, and you can tell him and Padme aren't looking at each other, but they are, and they play that angle with the camera, and it looks so good. And also, you can't tell me Order 66, the final fight, all the music, and the ending aren't fucking great. But I will not deny that this movie, when it came to dialogue, it had some of the worst, but it was not nearly as bad as as Attack of the Clones. After that, we have episode 6. I mean, what can I say about this that hasn't been said about it already? This movie just had everything. The best conclusion, it had the best conflict, not only among the characters, but also inner conflict. And it also, I really enjoyed the story for this movie. I really do. And this is where we finally saw Luke at the peak of where he could be as a Jedi, and he was great to watch in this movie. And I also like the final fight in this scene more than episode 3 to me because it's not much of a physical standoff, more as an emotional one. But now it's coming to the number 1 slot, and I mean, was there any debate? Episode 5 literally had everything. It had the best story, it had the best dialogue, it had the best conflict, it had the best climax, and it also had in my personal opinion, the best fight in the Star Wars series, and that's my personal opinion. Mainly because it looks like an actual fight, and you can tell Luke wants to kill Vader, but Vader is just toying with him the whole time. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but you know why this movie is #1. Okay, that's my list. I'm done now. Bye! Okay, so, I don't know how up to date everyone is with Star Wars shit recently, but apparently Adam Driver, he revealed that there was a project that was in development for a Ben Solo Star Wars movie. Like, literally, they had everything set. They had a script, they had a director, they had a cast, they had a production crew, they had a date planned, and Lucasfilm loved it, with Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy signing off on it. Just have Disney say this. What? I low-key agree with this post, because, I mean, come on! Between the time that Disney got Star Wars to now, we have had Palpatine come back, we have had numerous people get stabbed and survive, we found out about forced regeneration. There are so many characters that should have died or did die that came back to life even before Disney got a hold of Star Wars. There's Darth Maul, Palpatine, all the characters that have been in Disney Star Wars since it got picked up. It's also fucking Boba Fett. But here's the thing, I'm on copium, and I believe with my whole soul that this is just a publicity stunt. It's either a publicity stunt or Adam Driver's trying to pull a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. Basically put out into the universe that this project was gonna happen, and then the studio said no, causing a bunch of backlash against that studio and bullying them to the point that a few years later they announced that that movie is actually happening. But yeah, I just needed to get that off my chest, because when I saw that, I was like, this would have been the best thing they could have done for the sequels. Bear in mind, I don't hate the sequels. I have a whole video that I made when I first started this TikTok about how the sequels get way too much hate. Except for Rise of Skywalker, that one's actually pretty bad. But the first two weren't! And the one thing that everyone agrees on, that the best part of those movies is Adam Driver and the story of Kylo Ren. Disney, just put it into production. I'm not saying I don't want the Rey movie too, I just want them both.
I think we can all agree, though, that we do not need a Mandalorian Grogu movie. We didn't need it, we never needed it, and for some reason we're fucking